What is it that makes NLP so powerful when it comes to persuasion and influence? Stay tuned. This is Damon Cart with NLP Gym, the core of NLP persuasion and influence. If you haven't already, please click subscribe to this YouTube channel so you can get these videos on a regular basis. Pacing and leading is the core of NLP persuasion and influence, and it's not something that a lot of people who take NLP trainings really practice. In fact, I know a lot of NLP trainers who don't even know how to pace and lead that well. In this video, taken from the live training, I demonstrate pacing and leading. Check it out. I can pace his breathing, I can pace his posture, and then I can pace his words. I can listen to him speak and pick up on certain words he leans on. So an example of that, let me just ask you this question. What's important to you? Just answer that any way you want to.
Flexibility.
Okay, tell me more about that.
I want to be open to options, exploring new things, and considering new options.
Okay, so he's making this very easy because he's got very specific words: options, flexibility. So I know these words are important to him. So when I'm ready to lead, because we pace, I'm pacing him, and I could pace and say something like, so what you're telling me is that you really like options and you're looking to become more flexible, and that's important to you in your personal growth.
Correct.
Yeah. So that's easy for him to agree with because I'm using his exact words, and you can do that without sounding too obvious, because I'm telling him, okay, so what I understand that you're saying is, and then I just kind of repeat back what he's saying, and I don't want to say it word for word. I want to make it sound a little bit more like my own, so it doesn't sound like I'm just trying to imitate him. The other thing is, he used a word like flexibility. Now, that's not necessarily a sensory-based word, but it's pretty close. And looking at Rusty, and well, I kind of know Rusty, so I know he's kind of kinesthetic. And flexibility sounds a little bit more like a kinesthetic word. So that kind of clues me into he's probably processing in a feeling sense. Now, if he went into what we call visual predicates, so words that are like look, obvious, imagine, view, clear, that sort of thing, then I know he's accessing his visual rep system. And so I'd probably want to talk in pictures and visual terms. If I make a point and I say, do you see my point? And if he's very visual, he's going to be like, yeah, but you can't actually see a point. I can describe something to you. You can't see my point literally, but if you're making images in your mind, it feels like you're.
It feels right to me.
Right. It feels right to you because you're kinesthetic. And so if he was very auditory and he was using words that in the auditory system, like, oh, that rings a bell. It's a very auditory way to say something. So then I know he's processing through the auditory. And if I then packaged my message in auditory terms, like, how does that sound to you?
No, that sounds right to me.
Yeah, because you're kinesthetic. At this point, you can probably tell, it's pretty obvious, that I have really good rapport with Rusty. So here's where I start to lead. We'll just play with this a little bit for demonstration purposes. Tell me more about your flexibility.
It's about being able to flow and go in different directions as I explore with another person. How flexible are they? Are they willing to go with me in a certain direction? How deep are they willing to go? Is that scary for them? That kind of sort of relates to flexibility.
Okay. So it sounds like what you're saying is that you're interested in flexibility with other people.
Yes.
Not just for yourself.
Right.
And that you're probably looking with people who you have a natural flow with, and who are willing to go to those depths with you.
Very definitely. That's what really appeals to me.
Yeah. So you can see him kind of light up on this. So I'm just basically giving him everything that he's telling me right back to him, but it's probably giving you a bit of a sense that like I kind of know you.
You're with me.
Yeah, I'm with you. So this is what pacing is about. I'm using his words. I'm using his gestures. He's obviously very kinesthetic. So I was like, when you really find someone who you can really flow with, and you have that flexibility with, and they go to those depths with you, I bet that really feels good to you.
I feel relaxed.
You feel relaxed.
I feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I have a lot of room to work in, and I can explore things.
And I bet when you see it that way, it's almost like it's a big bright picture.
No. No.
Okay.
It's dark, and I can bring light into it.
Okay.
It's not a big. There's nothing obvious. There's things to be discovered there.
Yeah. Okay. So obviously he's very kinesthetic. He's using very kinesthetic words. He's breathing deeply, and I introduced the visual part of it, and right away, as soon as I said it, his eyes kind of went in all directions, like he's trying to find the reference for that. Now, if we're in strong rapport, he's probably going to find a reference for that and to try to keep the conversation going if we're in rapport. But that could also be a rapport breaker. And this is what you want to know. You want to know who's in front of you. You want to know if they tend to lean on one representational system more than the other. And once you realize that, a great way to build rapport is to speak to them in their representational system.
What does it say that I'm getting goosebumps?
Very kinesthetic, yeah. So here's some other things about very kinesthetic people. And it's not always the case, but people who speak really fast, does that annoy you?
Yes.
Okay. This is very true for kinesthetic people because you tend to take in the information that you're hearing and want to process it in your feelings. Mm-hmm. And that takes a little bit of time. So if you're talking to a very kinesthetic person and you're talking really fast like this, they're going to get annoyed. And it's going to break rapport. So how to pace someone like Rusty would be to be like, slow your words down and take deeper breaths and really feel what you're saying. So when you were talking about flexibility, I could really get a sense of that and the feeling for that, because I'm a person too who I really value depth.
Great, good. We're on the right track. We can go places.
Okay. So now I notice you even shifted more toward my direction. Now, if I were this fast-talking salesman and I was just rah 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 rah, he would be out the door. Like he would
push you away.
Yeah, you're just too much information too fast, and that would not be respecting the way that you take in information. Now, once we gain rapport, then we can start shifting toward leading, and that would be once we're in tune and we're in that state of rapport, and you should be able to feel that. Then I can start maybe gently introducing new ideas and in different ways. And so I could say something like, if I wanted to get him to access visual, I could say, that part you were saying about flexibility, I'm wondering, because there's a way that you experience flexibility and a way that you feel it. And then there's a way that I feel it. I don't know how similar that is. So I'm just wondering, if I were to see like a movie of you being flexible, what would I see?
An explorer in a cave.
An explorer in a cave.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
With a flashlight.
Cool. Okay.
Investigating, curious.
All right. And would I hear anything?
Whispers, directions, look here, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Shuffling of feet. That's what I would hear.
Okay.
And a connection, because we're in this dark place and we're exploring, so we're not doing it on our own. We're connected to each other, and that gives safety.
Okay.
So it's almost like we're tied together.
Okay. This is so much fun. So I lead him into a visual, which he goes because I start in his kinesthetic system, and then I lead him to an auditory, and it takes him a moment, but he goes there. And then the funny thing was, you brought it right back to kinesthetic. You brought it full circle. You're talking about a connection and that we're tied together. So if we're not in rapport at this point, I don't know what we're in. I mean, it's definitely the rapport. So he's willing to go with me if I respect his way of communicating and your rep system. And it most of the time does open up more for a person whenever they then relate one rep system to another. So we went to visual to auditory, and it seemed to strengthen the connection, and now we're tied together. Yeah. Check out my website, nlp-gym.com. There you'll find some free online NLP training. Remember to subscribe to this channel so you can get these videos on a regular basis. And if you like this video, please click like right down here and leave me a comment or ask me a question. I will get back to you. Take care.